Hey, it's your favorite mindset coach, Marissa, and I am so grateful that you are here today to join me. So, whether you are listening on my podcast, Teacher Mindset with Marissa E., or you are hanging out with me on my YouTube channel, Teacher_Mindset, you are going to get so much value. So, if you are a teacher, were a teacher, want to be a teacher, know a teacher, this is the podcast for you because what do we do here? We focus on helping teachers. That is the goal. I was a teacher. Now I'm a mindset coach for teachers. And I find people in the education space, whether they are teachers or were teachers or have some other place in the education space, to help you save time, energy, practice self-love, avoid burnout, look at your worth, and just navigate regular challenges that teachers are encountering today. So I would encourage you to subscribe, especially on the podcast. Put a like in there so that we can push up in the algorithm because the higher we are, the more teachers we can help. That is my ultimate goal, is to bring love and positivity to so many teachers out there. So if that sounds like something you would be interested in, then without further ado, let's get into it. Hey, teachers and parents. So this interview is for you if you've been considering adding more outdoor learning to your day with your students, or you love the idea of connecting your kids more with nature, or even you've been thinking about starting your own business. So in this episode, we are talking to Lauren MacLean, who is a primary school teacher who started her own consulting business to help teachers like you learn how to integrate outdoor learning into their daily routine. And I can't wait for her to tell you about her Teach Outdoors philosophy, as well as her children's book, Me and My Sit Spot. Hey, Lauren, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so lovely to connect virtually, even though I know we have lots of connections from where you're living right now. A little bit about myself. I'm living in Port Moody, British Columbia, Canada. I've been a teacher for about 16 years, so I've had a
Wow.
lot of wonderful opportunity connecting with many different families across our province and getting to know a lot of our Indigenous local community members and knowledge keepers. I'm very lucky that we are living and learning amongst and with our Indigenous education department because we learned so much about the history of our land together. So I'm very grateful to be here on the Coquitlam land. Yeah, I said 16 years I've been teaching. I have my master's in education in oral documentation, which might seem a little ironic,
It's
but
interesting, yeah. I love
right.
it. Explain
Uh,
that. Oral documentation. What do you kind of what do you study for that, or
but
how does that work?
Well, a lot of teachers and families have this difficulty, this challenge with outdoor learning and not being able to assess, quote unquote, the
Mm.
normal way that they would indoors. And so I was trying to find a way to document in an outdoor classroom setting, but through an oral language lens. So do we do it through video recording, through just taking anecdotal notes, through photos? Or through just sharing our stories at the end of the day and then finding creative ways to document from there.
Okay, sounds like,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense, definitely. Because I know as a teacher, when you do go outdoors, you need that sort of strategy on how are you going to assess. So
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
absolutely. And tell us about how you basically started with the outdoor learning and then got into the idea for the book.
When I was working in a public school system, I was also, as we have to do as young teachers, often have a few jobs. So I was also working on the weekends at a nature school. And I
Oh,
learned everything I learned was from them. They are the most amazing group of humans. That's Soaring Eagle Nature School in Vancouver. And everything I learned from them, I brought into the public school setting. Over the years, I was getting a lot of requests from teachers for books. We love picture books. It's such a wonderful gateway
yeah.
so that it's sort of that third point. It's not me telling you what to do or what to notice, but we can all look over here at this book, look at the picture, look at the words, and then we can have something, a shared experience to talk about. So that was sort of the inspiration behind the children's picture book, Me and My Sit Spot.
Cool. And tell us, so can you give us like just a little hint of what the book is about, basically?
Yes, it is. On the title page, you'll see a girl out in the forest with wild curly orange hair. That is me. I am bringing myself back to my childhood. Definitely someone with ADHD. It runs in our family. And outdoors was the area where I felt free. I
Yeah.
didn't have to sit still. I could still listen, but I was engaged. I had all my senses engaged at the same time. I sort of felt that sense of freedom. And so it's about me as a child and how I use the outdoors to help me feel more like myself. I could actually calm down after I had that time to sort of run around and release all that excess energy.
Yeah.
And a sit spot is not something that I came up with. That is a term that's been around for a long time, most notably from John Young at the Wilderness Awareness School. And it is a place where you visit as often as you can to develop a relationship with the land and with yourself. And so
Nice.
it was really my way of sort of putting out into the world like how I found my sit spot and what it provides me and hopefully what it can provide everybody.
I absolutely. And I think also, as someone who does a lot of meditation, even just being in touch with the
Mhm.
energies, right? There's so much energy just within nature. And I think a lot of us underestimate how it can just help you reset in so many different ways, because just the amount of I don't even know how to really explain it except to say it's the energy, right? It just sort of
Yeah,
is calming. It makes you see the beauty and makes you realize you can do so much with who you are. And yeah,
yeah.
I really love that. So I'm curious first, I'm going to switch my questions a little bit here, but
Mhm.
so when you went to your school and incorporated the teaching outdoors, was everybody receptive to that? Was it hard to sort of say like, this is what I want to do, it's such a great idea? Or was it pretty
Right.
easy to be like, were they like, yeah, that's great, do it?
Yeah, a bit of a mixed bag. The wonderful thing is when I first started, I had the most amazing teaching partner at the time. Her name's April Pickerainen, and our administrator at the school, Catherine Ludwig. They were so on board with anything innovative. Try it, see what
Amazing.
happens, document everything so that you see the pros and cons. And have very clear communication with your family. So I was teaching kindergarten and grade one at the time. So April and I had 44 students all together every moment of the day. It was absolutely phenomenal. And we brought every family in and we said, we are committing this year to going on a nature walk, really slow. That's it, a nature walk every day. We definitely use the resource Walking Curriculum by Dr. Gillian Judson as a way
Okay.
to guide us through how to use mental imagery to sort of pair with what you can notice outdoors. So it's a wonderful resource for families and for educators to use. And that was our first step just that year was just going on a nature walk. And then we built up our stamina and our repertoire of lessons and curricular engagements and connections from there. But we definitely started really small. The families were super on board. We were in quite an urban school, so there wasn't a lot of,
Okay.
quote unquote, typical nature that you would think of. We
Right.
had a big grass field, and that's about it. Maybe about 8 trees that lined a pathway towards the school. And so that was actually the perfect place to start because families didn't see a lot of nature in there. I'm like, no, there's still
Right.
a lot in a grass field. We can still do so many activities. Having a few trees, we can do tons. And so we just slowly added elements. So I actually think that was the perfect place to start because it wasn't a big forest or rolling hills. It was very simplistic.
Yes, yes, no, 100%. I think, and it is the perfect place because it'll help people see when you can explain it. They're like, oh, I understand. I see what you're
Yeah.
saying. And what would you say, like, what is your with regards to parents who were a little bit reluctant and sort of
Yeah.
wanted to know, okay, well, where's like the academic side? How do you explain it to them that this is actually not just playing? There's a lot of
Yeah.
academics going on here.
Yeah. And we did a few different things to make sure that our communication was really transparent with our families.
Okay.
So at the beginning of the year, we usually have one of these parent, like meet the teacher evenings sort of
Yeah.
things. And so we brought every parent in. We had a little slideshow where we highlighted pictures of already over the last week that we've had their children, all the outdoor exploration. So look at them jumping in the puddle. So where is the play there, but where is the learning there? So they are
Right.
learning how high they have to jump in order to not get the water down their rain boots. We brought out rulers, and so the kids are running and jumping to see how far they can splash. Well,
Okay.
there's the measurement and trial and error about their gross motor skills. We went and collected different types of leaves that week, sorted them into different colors. Well, and look at this next picture. We did the same activity indoors. So we're taking that one math strand and we're doing it indoors and then we're doing it outdoors to help make the learning deeper and help the students make those real world connections so that
Yeah.
they don't just see like, oh, it's just math. We don't really need to know that. Well, actually, we do because look, we're using it outdoors when we play. When we do go outside again, we take lots of photos, we send lots of videos home, and we use our words especially in the kindergarten age, we used our words as the educators saying, look, parents, you might notice X, Y, and Z. How it's relating to the curriculum is here and here and here. And then now here's our next step. So next week, we're probably going to dive in deeper to measuring puddles, maybe in the depth or the width. Maybe we'll even do circumference, even in kindergarten. And so the
Yeah.
parents really did slowly start to see like, wow, there is, especially in math, because I will admit, I am a bit of a math nerd. I love math so much. And so that's usually the easiest connection for me to make besides science, which, is just everywhere outdoors.
Yep.
But the parents really did see through the documentation how many connections there were to our curriculum. And so it was easy as I moved up in grades, because now I'm 2, 3, probably next year I'm going to be teaching grade 3, 4. I have so many stories and connections to sort of calm parents down and say, no worries, like, trust me, this is going to be an amazing experience. The more we spend time outside, the easier it is for them to focus when we're back indoors. There's
Right.
so many articles that I can send home to parents that sort of have all these studies done, but I rarely have to use it now because I've made such great connections with our families.
I think I like the idea too that it adds that element of critical thinking because you're
Mhm.
discussing, you're talking, right? As the kids are moving around, they're asking questions.
Yeah.
And critical thinking is one of those 21st century skills that a lot of people unfortunately do not have these days. So to start so young with something
Mhm.
where they have that freedom to ask questions, that freedom to be like, okay, well, what do you think would happen if we did it this way? Oh, okay, let's see, right? It
Yeah.
definitely and also builds their communication skills, which again is another 21st century skill. So it really is adding on to those skills that maybe aren't necessarily in your curriculum, but are
Mhm.
setting the kids up to be more successful in the future and as they move forward in school. And that why, like I just love that why, like why is it doing that? That's just
Yeah.
the best thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been so incredible. I definitely would not teach any other way.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. You were saying that you've noticed a change in like their focus when they come in. Is that
Mhm.
just because well, yeah, what do you think is the main reason? Just they've been outside a long time or?
I think because we've had this breather, this fresh air, a lot of excitement, and now we're going to go in, we're going to focus for half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever it is, on the same academic maybe it's measurement, maybe it's addition. We're going to go back indoors. We'll revisit that same concept.
Right.
We can focus on it because you know what? After lunch, we're going to head back out and now we're going to maybe do some reading or writing outdoors. So they get a lot of different learning environments, really flexible environments that supports all the different ways that our learners do learn best.
Yeah, amazing. And with regards to their social and emotional development, have you noticed a lot more maybe like empathy, or what have you noticed with that with the
Yeah.
kids?
Yeah, we definitely have a very strong focus on social emotional learning indoors and outdoors. We tend to sort of focus on the five facets of SEL through the castle.org website. So if
Okay.
people want to look that up, it is a wealth of knowledge. You will get lost down a rabbit hole of amazingness because it sort of never ends, all the suggestions. So the five facets of SEL that they talk about are self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, responsible decision making,
Okay.
and relationship skills. And so we start with the self at the beginning of the year, and then we sort of grow our circle outwards. So we have a lot of learners that are nervous and uncomfortable on rainy days or muddy days or touching something that might be slimy outdoors, like moss when it's wet. And so we typically start with something like a comfort scavenger hunt. So we're going to go look for all these different things outdoors, and then you're going to rate it. There's three different thumbs up, thumbs sideways, or thumbs down by the ant picture. And so
Okay.
you get to decide how you're feeling that day. It doesn't mean you're always going to be uncomfortable or always going to be comfortable with ants, but that day, that's how I'm feeling. And then we share that with a friend if you're comfortable. You don't
Hmm.
have to, because sometimes we want to keep those things private, and that's okay. We talk a lot about how comfort and outdoor experiences is not a competition. I might
Right.
be really excited to go do this. And if you're not, that's okay. That doesn't mean I'm better and you're worse. It just means we're interested in different things. So we talk a lot about it's not a comparison. One of the books that we use most often to help us with that idea is called What Does It Mean to Be Brave by Kelly
Ooh,
Shudo. It is
I love that.
phenomenal. Now she's got a whole series. What does it mean to be brave? What does it mean to be smart, I think? And what does it mean to be your best? That's the other one. So it's a really great picture book about it's not a comparison. We are
Right.
going to lift each other up. We're going to notice your strengths. I'm going to rely on your strengths to help lift me up. And so through the year, as we focus on these different social emotional aspects, through self-management, maybe we're going to play Simon Says, or social awareness, we're going to look at how birds communicate with each other, and we're
Oh,
going
I
to
love
learn
it.
from the birds. They start seeing how they are connected and part of the outdoor landscape instead of being separated.
Right.
So all of a sudden, there's not as much litter on our school grounds. There's not as much destruction on the logs that have fallen over because they
Amazing.
care about it more often.
No, my gosh, that reminds me of when I was at school and this ball had gotten into the tree, and the boys were just jumping on the tree and pulling it down and pulling the branches
Oh,
and trying to get this
yeah.
ball. And in my mind, I was like, the poor tree, you guys,
Yeah.
like because
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
don't see that connection, right? So I think what you're doing is that's so amazing. And so that leads me into sort of the business itself. So was it the book that
Mhm.
sort of prompted you to say, you know what, I should do this as professional development for teachers and get other teachers on board with this? Or was it like, did that idea come first before the book?
Yeah, it's such a good question. And because it was, I mean, it was only 3 years ago, it's almost hard for me to remember. Definitely the book came first. I'm gonna say that with confidence. I
Okay.
think I was a full-time teacher. I was doing workshops, but it was part of my job at that time. I was a mentoring support teacher, helping teachers implement their math curriculum.
Okay.
But then I was taking their math curriculum outdoors. So I was mentoring new teachers, experienced teachers, and then a lot of requests came out for a picture book. So when I was on maternity leave with my first child, that's when I wrote my book.
Okay.
And then the business started to grow from there. So I was getting more and more requests from other school districts. And
Nice.
so I took 2 days off from my full-time position and started consulting to help basically with almost my quote unquote caseload, I suppose. I was just getting so busy in a great way, but I needed more time in my life to be able to help everybody out.
So did you have to go to like your district to get that time off and they
Yes,
just approved that and but the consulting, that is your own thing, right? Is or
right.
you're not like hired through the district to do that. That's your own sort of
No, yeah.
your own
So
baby.
I had to get a temporary part-time leave. And so every year I
Okay.
can apply for it and I get 2 days off. And then I have on those days, I can focus on whatever it is that I want to. And then the other days I'm back as a regular school district employee.
Okay, okay, amazing.
Yeah.
So what was it? Well, let me ask you this first. Like, what is the big picture vision for your business?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's because I'm such an extrovert. I am just so keen to meet new people, see how
I
other
love that.
schools run, how school districts run, and I want to help them get outside. And if that means with your math goal or your writing goal or your social emotional goal, anything we can do it outside, no matter where you are. I met the most amazing educator in the middle of Canada. And I know there's, when people think of Canada, they think of how cold it is. This area is always cold, and she is
Okay.
outside every day. They do have to do it in very short stints for safety because they
Yeah.
will, if they're outside for an hour, they will get frostbite. It is that cold where she comes from, but
Wow.
they make it work. It is absolutely commendable. So that's sort of my big picture goal. I want to travel, I want to meet new people and help them get outdoors.
Absolutely. I think the kids of Canada are going to thank you or already thank you. But definitely the more that you're, this amazing idea like spreads, it's just going to,
Mhm.
I think, really help because I just feel like kids today, they need that exposure to the outside
Yeah,
to kind of reset. And hence why I love, me
absolutely.
and my sit spot because
Mhm.
it shows kids like you have this option of finding your space
Yeah,
outside and
yeah,
it's just for you. It's
yeah,
okay to just be on your own with your own thoughts sometimes and look at the beauty of what's going on around you or to analyze
yeah,
whatever you want to do.
yeah, exactly.
So with starting the business, like what were for anyone out there who wants to start a business and maybe is a little bit maybe having some fears, like what are some of the fears or challenges you had that you had to overcome in the beginning?
My biggest thing was organizing my calendar. I was so nervous that if I, gave someone two options for a pro D day and then somebody else asked for options that I would accidentally overlap. So that terrified me is that I would make a organizational calendar error and bookkeeping. We're public school teachers. I'm not in charge of my own bookkeeping. It's all run
Yeah,
up at HR. And so now I'm in charge of what does an invoice look like? How do I sign up to pay GST taxes, which, we had to hire an accountant to get that all set up. So that stuff, that nitty gritty stuff
yeah.
that I do not find exciting, bookkeeping, no thanks. That stuff terrified me.
What did you use for your calendar in the end? Like, did you find a program that you liked or
I'm embarrassed. I paper copy.
a paper
I do
calendar?
not.
Old school.
Very old school. Computers and I don't love each other. We definitely speak a different language. I've tried Calendly,
Yeah.
um, and I really love things on a piece of like on my calendar. I want to flip it open. I want to smell the paper, and write in pencil first, all my options, and then once it's been confirmed, then I rewrite it in pen, a little check mark beside it. I definitely prefer old school.
Yeah, no, I understand. For me, I started off like I tried a few different calendar programs, and in the end, I wound up going with Google Calendar for my
Okay.
scheduling. But then I created my own sort of calendar on Google Sheets so that
Okay.
I can quickly look at it and I can make the blocks bigger if I want. I can quickly write something in if I'm talking to someone. So that was where I went in the end. Yeah, I also struggled, and there are a lot of calendar apps out there, but
So many.
yeah,
Yeah.
in the end, that's where I'm at now. It could change possibly, but it's been working for, a few years, so I think it's going to stay.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe I'll try it.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good recommendation.
Yeah, I like the Google Sheets as well because I can quickly access it on my phone, and Google Calendar as well. So if I'm out, I can access it. So it's a good backup to have.
That is
Um,
nice.
yeah, so if you're out and you meet a new, customer or client or a new school or teacher, and you're like, oh my gosh, like give
Mhm.
me your details and I'll pencil you
Yeah,
in.
perfect. I love it.
And tell me, Lauren, like what advice would you give a teacher who does come to you and is like, Lauren, I'm really thinking of starting my own business. I've got this great idea. Because I mean, as teachers, we don't realize all that nitty gritty that you were talking about before, right? All the invoicing, all the
Right.
little things that you actually have to do. So what advice would you give them instead of just like, diving in head first?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's sort of how we started with our outdoor teaching is to start small. We just started with nature walks. When I started, this consulting, I started really small. It was workshops, that was it. Then I waited for the next sort of opportunity. So I had lots of requests for worksheets, which I struggle with. Again, I don't love a lot of structured worksheets.
Hmm.
I understand how they are helpful as a guide. And so after a few years of so many requests, then I did start making them, but I didn't at first because I really needed to sit with that and say like, is that actually my goal? And so I make more of them for teachers, less as print this off for your students, but more as a guide just for teachers.
Yeah, I was just thinking that like maybe more of a question guide, right? So ideas on,
Exactly.
okay, let's draw a picture of this leaf and let's,
Hmm.
maybe write down, let's put adjectives around the leaf or what's the texture, right? So it's
Yeah,
sort of like just guiding them on questions until they get confident with doing it themselves, right? Because eventually they
absolutely.
will.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh,
But yeah,
definitely.
definitely my advice would be start small.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to know if teachers wanted to find you online so they could connect with you and see how they could eventually get this program into their school. Do you do online training at all, or do you only do in-person training at the moment?
I do. So I do two different things. Well, I guess maybe even three different things online. I do online author visits. And
Okay,
so I've done single classrooms. I've also done an entire gymnasium from K to 5 all together. And I talk about the process of writing a book. I read the book and then I give a bunch of different nature games to play as soon as they're done. So I explain the game and then everybody goes outside with their teachers to try to do
great.
it. I also have this program, I guess. It's called Nature's Path, a year of monthly sparks. And for each month of the year, there's like a 5 to 7 minute video that you would play, like a pre-recorded PowerPoint that you would play either during a staff meeting or
Okay.
it's being picked up by a lot of parents who are homeschooling. So
Yeah,
they would listen to it themselves. It talks about the monthly themes, going on a nature walk, a book to read, 4 or 5 different activities related to the curriculum, and then some nature facts. So I would talk about a bird that month or a tree or a plant because people really do want a little bit of, okay, I want to know what that tree is. Not that
yeah.
you need to know it to go outside, but it is nice to know some fun facts. So I do provide that. And then you get a bunch of different downloads, again, worksheet-ish type things that you can print off to help you connect with nature. And so I do that for every single month of the year. So again, that's called Nature's Path. And then I do have pre-recorded, you know, hour-long presentations that I have recorded
Okay.
on math or on birds or on
Amazing.
social emotional development. So people can contact me for that through the website, so teachoutdoors.ca,
Perfect.
or through Instagram, which is also teachoutdoors.ca.
Amazing. Oh, as a separate just question before I get into our
Yeah.
final questions, how did you find marketing yourself on Instagram? Were there any challenges there? Anything that's worked for you? Anything that you would maybe do differently or?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know they keep saying, put yourself on camera. I'm not great at that. I'm not the best photographer. I'm great at being silly. That's part of my personality. But I go through waves with social media. Like I'll take lots of photos, always, if it's my own children, it's always their hands. I still don't put photos of my
Yeah,
kids'
that's good
faces
though.
up yet. Yeah, it's a privacy thing for
Yeah.
me and my husband. Um, I'm a co-founder of something called the Local Bookshelf. And so we're four authors, old friends that support other authors in the community. And so we're trying to, again, really lift up other authors throughout our province. And so I think one of the things that goes well with marketing is when we talk about other people. It's so much easier to talk about other people
Yes.
as opposed to focusing on yourself. It's really awkward.
Yeah. So Canadian children's authors should definitely contact you then
Yes,
to
definitely.
connect
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
So you're in the same space there. Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
understand. I'm also in the process now of building my Instagram because teachers do hang out a lot on Instagram. So I've been
Yes.
trying out different things and I always like hearing other people's experiences to see kind of what works and yeah, because I've also got some ideas, but I know what you mean. You have to try different things and then sort of see what
Yeah.
works best for you and just kind of be consistent. They
Yeah,
say that the key
exactly.
is consistency. If you're
Hmm.
consistent, then that's like
Yeah.
number one. Cool. Okay, so in terms of personal or professional development, any books you would recommend for our listeners?
Yeah, I think I mentioned it at the beginning was the Walking Curriculum book by Dr. Gillian
Perfect.
Judson. That is my biggest go-to because I think it's a perfect first step and it's a worldwide book. So
Yeah.
it's hard to have outdoor learning books because so much of outdoor learning is so place specific.
Mm,
Right? I'm not sure what trees and plants and birds you have in South Africa, but I definitely know in my area up on the mountains, it's even different than what's down at the bottom of the mountain. So context is so difficult when it comes to history
yeah.
and land. And so this book really is it sort of spans the entire world because it's so beautifully written.
Okay, it's amazing. I'm definitely going to put that in the show notes. You're right though, because I mean, Cape Town alone has, I mean, I'll stand under correction if I give some exaggerated number, but they have
Okay.
so many types of flora and fauna that is protected.
Yeah.
Especially the plants, the flora, like there's just so, and it's only in Cape Town.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
it's so
so
would be,
magical.
yeah, it is magical. It really, really is. Okay, so in terms of going a little bit into our mindset, 'cause, I'm a mindset coach
Mhm.
and especially, like to do mindset coaching with teachers, but how do
Yeah.
you move yourself from a negative mindset if things are kind of starting to spiral into a positive mindset?
Yeah, I love this question. I love the work you do with mindset. It's so extremely important.
Thank you.
Before becoming a teacher, my background is an athlete. So I played field hockey for the Canadian national field hockey team, which is how you and I sort of made our connection to Cape Town, is because I used to travel to South Africa for
Yeah.
some test matches with your national team. And our big thing as athletes is goal setting. And we are very good at, short-term goals, all leading into the long-term goals and committing to it. We have to say it out loud. We have to say to ourselves, what is the one thing I'm going to do today to help me get to here? And so I try to do that in my teaching life and as a parent as well. And I will admit, this year I'm finding certain things difficult and that I haven't experienced yet in my 16 years of teaching is the inclusive nature of our outdoor spaces. We're at the top of a hill. It's
Yeah.
very steep. Some of the entrances to our outdoor learning areas are very narrow. And we
Okay.
have some learners that need a flat, wide entrance to be able to physically access those spaces. And I'm finding
Oh.
that difficult, especially in the winter, because it's frosty and it's slippery. And so I did catch myself thinking, oh, this is so frustrating. Well, you know what? No. What's the one thing I'm going to do tomorrow? I'm just not going to visit that space that we normally do. We're going to go visit a different space. We'll be creative. We'll come up with a plan.
There you go.
And we're just going to, it doesn't have to be what it was last year. We're going to just find new ways of doing it. And so I think for me, it was sort of checking my own expectations and making small goals.
Yeah, I love that answer. And I think goal setting is a highly underrated, not like it's a skill,
Yeah.
but it's highly underrated for your own personal development. Like it
Yeah.
really, we are naturally inclined to want to achieve goals. It's those like hits of
Mhm.
dopamine, right? Like when you check something off.
Mhm.
And by setting goals and then achieving them, you're just like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. I did it, you know?
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
motivating.
I love that answer. What is one thing I know because you work with a lot of like younger, smaller kids. What is one thing you do to keep calm amidst the
Yeah.
chaos?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And it's, I work with young kids and then I come home to young kids. I need a little quiet time. I need to go for a walk. I don't listen to music on my walk. I need to sit with my own thoughts. Um, I pick up my two young children and I need to play with them again without sort of the interruptions. I need to sit with them and be present and focused with
Hmm.
them if we're building Lego, which I find very difficult. I don't have that spatial reasoning building that my son is so good at, but I am there with him. I am
Yeah, I
learning
love
how
that.
Lego connects. And I need coloring time. Now, not drawing time, because I actually find drawing stressful because, again, that spatial awareness. I can't see something in my head and put it on paper, but I
Same.
love coloring something that my son has drawn, or if it's a coloring page. Now, again, I don't love coloring pages for young kids because I think it does sometimes impede their creativity. But if I'm just coloring just shades, not necessarily in the shape of something, that really helps me sort of calm down after a chaotic day.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, especially the coloring in which your son has drawn. I've never
Yeah.
thought to do that. That's a really great idea. I
Yeah,
love
he
that.
draws the trains or he draws little wheels and then I color part of it in and then we sort of trade around. So the all four of us are sort of drawing apart. We pass our papers over and we add to everybody's drawings.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah, it is.
Um, so, and last question, Lauren, what three things are you grateful for today?
Very much my family. I just feel like I am the luckiest person in the world. I have time to reflect is my next one, is that I've really committed to not being too busy. I need time to sit with things. And that sort of leads me to my third one, which is that I feel like I'm better, not great, but I'm better at balance in life.
It's the 1% rule. Like basically, I was listening to a
Yeah.
podcast the other day, whereas you don't need it to be perfect, but try if you're 1% better than where you were, because that's like a
Yeah.
goal that you're working towards, then celebrate that win, right? Because every
Yeah.
time, if you just get that little 1% better, then you're getting better and better. And it
Yeah,
doesn't,
exactly.
it doesn't have to be perfect.
No.
Well, Lord, I'm so grateful for you. I love your idea with the outdoor learning. I think it is so incredibly relevant to kids today that are being inundated with with screens and um, you know, and I just really, really feel that if we can get this into all the schools, we will have a lot much calmer, more communicative, socially aware children. So that is definitely in my head. I'll be putting out that energy for you. And yeah, and I
Thank
just
you.
really appreciate you for your dedication to like helping teachers, trying to teach in a new way. And yeah, and I just wish you like tons of incredible success and prosperity. Thank you.
You are so kind. Thank you so much. This was such a lovely opportunity.
Awesome. Have a great day.
You too.
Great. Yay. Thank you,
Perfect.
Lauren. That was so great. Thank
Yes.
you so
Oh,
much. It was
this is so
amazing.
lovely chatting to you. I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
Did you see my balloons in the middle? I had to like turn off my
I did. That
reactions.
was so funny.
The Mac has like, and the iPhone, the newer iPhone and Mac, they have this thing set up on reactions. And the problem is like, it used to be if you hold it, but like now if I'm just like this on my cheek, it does the balloons. It's got like 8 different reactions that it does, but that's the one that always pops out in the
That's so
middle.
funny.
So now I turned it off. I'm like, okay, turn that off.
I
Um,
assumed that someone maybe like wrote you a message saying happy birthday because I know
yeah.
sometimes when that happens on my phone, all of a sudden you get.
No, it's so cute. Look, I'll turn them on for a sec. This one is my favorite. See if it'll do it.
Oh my
Isn't
gosh.
that amazing?
That's so
Right?
crazy.
I know. I love it. I love it, but not during podcasts. Like I've got to
Yeah,
actually, that's why I got to remember to turn it off.
that's so funny.
So anyways, Lynn, so what I'll do is I've got a few podcasts still to edit, but as soon as I get this one done, I will send it through to you and you can let me know.
Perfect.
I know you're more reluctant with the video, but I do have the option of putting it on YouTube if you want to
Oh,
build for your business. Is that fine?
I don't
Or,
mind. Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
perfect.
yeah,
Amazing. And I was going to say for your Instagram, um, I think you should do reels on like
yeah,
just what you did that day. What lesson did you do that
yeah.
day outdoors? Just that.
I think I think so. I
And
know.
even and you'll get more comfortable with the video, but even if you don't want to do the video, just go outdoors and even just go outdoors and take like do it like a little video of your outdoor space while you're
Yeah,
talking. And then eventually
yeah,
maybe try once a week to do a video one of yourself and just be like, okay,
right.
guys, today this was the best lesson I had outdoors. We were doing this for math and the kids did
Yeah,
this and it was awesome. And then you
I
only have to
know.
speak for like a minute, right? And that could,
Totally.
right? That could be a good way to like build up your viewership on Instagram. And it's
Yeah,
quick and easy. It's just you talking. This is what we did today. It's one thing. And
yeah,
then you post that so that you
yeah,
people are starting to realize, oh, like this girl knows what she's talking about.
yeah, yeah. I know. And I need to commit to it. And I need to, the other thing that I need to consider is because I'm a classroom teacher right now for those 3 days, but the school has asked me if I would be an outdoor prep teacher next year. And so
Okay.
either 1 or 2 days that my job is literally just to pick up kids, take them outside for 40 minutes, and then I get the next group for 40 minutes. I don't mind that. I worry about the fast pacedness of that. So like, okay, next group,
Mm.
next group. If I have to drop a kid off or a class off in 5 minutes, that's all I'll think about instead of just enjoying being outside. But that is what I want to do. I want to be outside. I hate that it would be for such a short period of time with a group.
I would say that if you do go with it, that the teacher needs to bring the kids
Yeah,
and pick
yeah,
the kids up.
yeah,
I would say
exactly.
that way, if by chance one teacher's late, the other teacher is with the kids and her kids anyway out there with you.
Yeah,
And it could be, I mean, you could look at it as being able to implement different strategies with different
yeah,
grades, with different
true.
topics, which is
Yeah,
building your business because it is what you want to do. And it would be
it
a way to
is.
see what works and what doesn't work,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So you
It's true.
could look at it like that. However, you will not really have a connection with a class as such because you will
I
have a lot of
know.
different classes. So you also have to look at what do you want more? Do you want to be that classroom teacher where you have the relationship with your class?
I
Or
know.
can you see this as a business opportunity to
Mhm.
grow
Yeah.
into this, with this business that you have put together?
Yeah, I know. It's so tricky. It's so tricky.
I
Yeah,
think
because
the
we
thing is, what you got to remember, you can always go
yeah,
back to the classroom.
exactly. Yep.
So I would do it. I would do it
Yeah.
and see like and use it as this is for my business.
Yeah.
I'm going to try different
Yeah.
things with the kids and I'm going to document um and that is just more and more and more content that you can sell,
Yeah.
right? And if you're
I
working
know.
with older kids because your school goes up to like grade 6, doesn't it?
Yeah, grade 5.
Grade
Yeah.
5, right? So you don't teach grade 4 and 5. So now you can
No.
start tailoring your ideas to that.
Yeah.
Um,
I know. Uh,
so I
so
think
many
if you're
options.
going to be a businesswoman, I think I would do it. Just
Okay.
if there's the fast pacedness of it, be like, okay, you'll have to be prepared because it's 40 minutes,
Yep.
but make sure that the teacher has to bring them out because you can't be stuck
Yep.
with like 80 kids out there by yourself. So
No.
just, and your teachers will do that. I don't think
Yep.
they will care. Um,
No. Yeah.
right. But I would see it as a business opportunity if use it as like your research. You're
Yeah.
doing research,
Yes.
you're seeing what
Yeah.
works, what doesn't work. And then if you want to go back into the classroom the following year, you can. But who
Yeah.
knows? I mean, maybe you'll have so much online stuff going on. You're running
Oh.
this whole business. Do you ever want to leave the
Yeah.
classroom or is that no, you want to
I
stay?
I think I still want to stay connected a little bit because I don't want to lose perspective of what's going
Right,
on. Also, I mean, my kids are coming to the school,
right.
and so I want to drop them off. I want to walk them
Yeah, I
home.
have that whole experience for sure.
But I also have, like, I think next year is going to be a big year. I have another picture book coming out in about three
Amazing.
months, maybe 4 months. And then I've got uh, a big book coming out probably in 8 months. And so publisher just picked it up yesterday. They said 6 to 8 months.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I am.
Amazing.
I like I can hardly sleep. I can't believe this is happening.
That's
Um,
brilliant.
it's gonna be incredible. So I think things are going to really snowball next year. Like this year, it's my first year not teaching full time, and things are busy, like like surprisingly busy. And I think next year is going to be nuts.
Yeah. Well, maybe
Yeah,
it's the universe's way of saying the universe supports you in your business, right?
yeah,
So you need to take that next step. And it
yeah,
doesn't mean you have to leave the school. So if you know that for sure that you want to stay
yeah,
connected, but maybe if your school gives you this opportunity to be more outdoors, which is the
yeah,
direction you want to go,
yeah.
um, I would take them up on it. And if it doesn't work, you can go back into the class. It's not like they're going to let you go and
Exactly.
teach the shortage of teachers.
Yep, exactly. Totally. Yeah. Yeah, what,
So
they're not gonna fire me.
no,
No.
exactly.
Very true.
So
Oh, thank you
yeah.
so much again. I'm so excited for you and I mean, I love that you're focusing on mindset with teachers. It's incredible work you're doing.
Thank you so much, Lauren. And we'll
Yeah.
definitely, yeah, we'll keep in touch and we'll do
Yep.
when your next books come out, we'll do another podcast down the road.
Sure. Sounds good.
All right, awesome. I hope you have a great day. Chat to you
Thank
soon.
you.
I'll
You
message
too.
you soon. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Bye.